All right, all right. Good evening, good evening, good evening to all. Welcome to another edition here at Lebanon Baptist Church of our Bible class. We would like to thank all those who are tuned in through this social media outlet and platform, all those who are watching us here on YouTube and Facebook. God bless you. We pray to God that there is something that is said or done through this Bible class that will draw you closer to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We are here at another episode of Bible class where we like to come and dig and dig and dig into the word until we come out and pull out with a treasure. As the Bible puts it, until we try to come into the understanding of the mysteries of God. Yeah. The mysteries of God that are hidden. You know how in my younger years, there was something that here at the church, we were here at the church, there were something that we used to do in my younger years, in my younger years, and Minister Carter and Deacon Henderson could attest to this. We used to have scavenging hunts. Did we not? It was majority for Easter though. Long time ago. And we would have scavenger hunts, and you would have to take one clue, and that clue would lead you to another clue, and that clue would lead you to another clue. But the objective of the hunt was to make sure that you got the prize. You know, for us, we were trying to get to the prize first. But what we didn't know was that when we got to the prize first, even though we made it first, there was still other prizes that could be won. In our scavenger hunts, I remember them. I majority of the time I made it first, but I don't know how the second and third. I don't really know what their gifts were, but I do remember. I do remember those $5 McDonald's coupons. Do you remember those? And you know Giordano coupons. You know, and back in the early 90s for us, them $5 McDonald's coupons. Oh, Jesus. But my point was, you had to figure out the clue in order to get to the next step, in order to get to the prize. And the Bible, or the Bible puts it, the mysteries of God, they lay down clues that you and I have to follow to find out the revelation of God. You remember Jesus told his disciples, he said, do you not understand too? Have you been with me thus far, this long, and you sounding like they sound? Greater. I heard the Apostle Sunday. And I heard us say that there was an explosion of the greater. And she said, God said it's coming. It's on its way. It's moving, it's coming, it's moving. And God just, like he always does, backs up his word. Only God did his word first before she came up and spoke. And God just allowed her to confirm what he was doing about the greater. Get ready for the greater. Let's dig. Matthew. Let's dig. Matthew. Greater, the greater. The greater. You know what? Let's hold on, Matthew. Let's go to what she wants. Go to John. Let's start from the beginning. Let's make sure we get it, that we all get it. Let's go to John, so we can all be on one. Go to John. That's the gospel as recorded by St. John. St. John being and this is I thought about this because we were talking about the greater. St. John being the only one of the gospel, as well as every other besides James book, that was actually in the company of Jesus. Matthew, he wasn't in the company of Jesus. Mark, he wasn't in Jesus' company. Luke, the physician, he was not in Jesus' company. But John, as John places, the one whom Jesus loved, the one who had a first-hand encounter of the Master. Let's go to John. Look, come on. Let's start. Let's dig. You ready? We right here, John, the 14th chapter. We're gonna go to the basis of where we're coming from in the 12th verse, and we'll find our way back here. That's John, the 14th chapter, commencing here at the 12th verse. You'll find these words: "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. And if you should ask anything in my name, I will do it." And then he say, "If you love me, keep my commandments." Now let's see how all this coincides with one another. He said, because if you keep my commandments, I'll pray to the Father. Or let me paraphrase. If you continue in what I say, I'll talk to God on your behalf. Let me paraphrase, I'll pray to the Father, so we'll understand what Jesus is really saying in today's terminology. If you do what I've commissioned you to do, if you do it my way, if you do it concerning the way I explained it to you to be done, then I'll talk to God on your behalf. Right? That's what he say. And I'll pray to the Father, and then God will give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Then when I pray to God for you, God will give you more assurance. Let me take some words out and paraphrase so we can kind of grasp it a little bit. God, after I pray, God will make sure that he gives you more assurance, and this assurance won't leave you. And greater works. And he said, "Go, come on. That's what we go. This is our premise. We're gonna stay right here for my parents, but we're gonna go on. Come on, let's go. We in John, right? Okay, come on. Let's go on over to the 19th chapter. We in 14 now, right? Let's stay right here for 1 second. I want to stay in John for a second. Because Jesus said, greater, greater, greater. And I was conflicted for a moment. I said, now, wait a minute now, God. If Jesus is the only begotten of the Father, Jesus is the expression of God wrapped in humanity. How is it then can we do greater? Wait a minute. You're gonna have to explain this to me because as Minister Jackson said 2 weeks ago, Jesus only died once. He just died once. He didn't have to keep dying over and over and over. But I have to keep praying over and over and over and over. Lord, forgive me. Lord, I'm sorry. Father, forgive that thought. Lord, forgive what I'm thinking. I got to pray that over and over. So I said, now, wait a minute. How can I be greater? What'll make me greater? Come on, John. I want you to see this right, John. John, you're in the 19th chapter? Woo, we in Bible class, the 11th verse. I'm going to go somewhere with this. I just want you to stay with me now. The 11th verse, you there? And Jesus answered. You know, this is when Pilate is telling him, don't you know what I can do? Do you understand what authority I have over you at this moment? I want you to see this. I'm going somewhere, but I want you to make sure that you pay attention to everywhere we go. He said, and Jesus answered. He said, thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it was given thee from above. Therefore, he that delivered me unto thee have the greater sin. Because we talking about the greater, right? Wow, I'll show you this. And show you the flip side of what's the greater. Jesus said, first of all, you can make no decision on what's going to happen to me first. First of all, you don't even have the right nor the power to decide what will happen over me. Then he said, except my Father give you that power. That's what Jesus said, except it was given thee from above. Therefore, in other words, saying, the only reason I'm in the situation where you have the power over me is because I've been handed over to you. Watch this. Not because I'm in your midst, but because, watch that, I'm going to show you what's greater. Because I've been handed over to you by someone else. And because of that, he has the greater sin. I'm going to show you what's greater. I got to give you the flip side so we all get it. Jesus said it. You don't got no power to give no direction on which way my life goes, except it was given to you by God. But since I'm in your midst and God have given that to you, the greater sin on him who brought me to you. Greater, because see, I'm going to come out of this for a minute. Greater. Look, we all want the greater, right? We are expecting the greater. We waiting for God to give us the greater, right? We want the greater. But don't misconstrue Jesus' words. Jesus said, greater works shall you do. Because I go to the Father. There is no greater without the works. Jesus didn't say, greater gifts shall you do. Jesus said, greater works shall you do, because I go to my Father. So there can be no greater if there is no works. The greater comes. Watch this. The greater comes to enhance the works. See, the greater don't come just to make my life better. Though because of the works, my life become better. But the greater come to enhance the works. He said, greater works than these shall you do. I told you, look, well, some of y'all call in. Look. I told you, after Apostle got through preaching that thing, I went home and I said, wait a minute, God, now what we got to do greater? I said, what we got, if you saying greater coming, if you saying there's going to be an explosion of greater, see, I believe in God. I believe him and I know it to be true. I said, if you saying there's going to be something greater, then what are you trying to attach greater to? And he said, greater works. And I said, it's funny. Out of the 66 books in this Bible, the other 48 books that's not in this Bible, that talk about Jesus, that describe Jesus, that talks about Jesus' life, I have yet, and I was wondering and digging on the thing, I have yet, as great and powerful as Jesus was, hear anything in this book detail Jesus doing something for himself. They said his fame went abroad, where thousands would come just to sit and hear him talk. And he would heal at one point in Mark, it said he healed everyone that came that was sick. But it never said, and Jesus went and bought himself a fleet of horses. Now listen to me, don't misconstrue me. I'm not saying that God does not want you with good things. But the reason the Bible never illustrates that about Jesus is because Jesus' mind state and focus, Jesus' walk was all about the works. His whole ministry was about the works. It was about showing how man can operate as God and get God results. That's the work. I want to let you know what work I'm talking about. I'm talking about the God work. I'm talking about the work where you are placed on display. And while being placed on display, you and I have to find a way how to conduct ourselves, behave ourselves, and to be conducive to being an example of how to display God's works in a man's body. See, that was Jesus' purpose. To come on earth, redeem you and I, to show you and I how we can work as God, like God as man. And he said, and greater works. I said, well, why would Jesus be talking about greater works? And I had to ask God, wait a minute. Because I know, now come on, God, now. Hey, I know, hey, I'm not finna go out there. I'm not finna go out there in Lake Michigan and go, wait a minute, I got all the faith in the world. Wait a minute. I'm not finna go out there and say, Lord, be with me. But Jesus' ministry for 3.5 years. And God had to point this out to me. And I didn't get it, the greater work. Jesus' ministry for 3.5 years was limited. Now, wait a minute. How could a limitless God come to a creation he created and become limited? I said, now wait a minute, you gotta help me with the greater works here. He said, yeah. And then he took me to, do you remember when Jesus was talking to that woman, Michael? The woman who came and sat down back at his feet and tried to get Jesus to heal her. And Jesus said, no, baby. I'm only sent to the chosen. You remember Jesus said that? And the woman said to him, but even the dogs can eat the crumbs from the master's table. You remember that? I said, well, wait a minute. How was Jesus limited? And God showed me. He showed me. He was limited because Jesus, watch this, ministry only went as far as Galilee and Judea. He went nowhere else. Judea, Galilee and Judea, besides the time he went to Jerusalem, that's where his ministry was. I said, okay, well, but wait a minute now, how you gonna be omnipresent? How you gonna be omnipresent, but you stuck right here in Inglewood? And he said, yeah, because, but this was the greater. I said, what was the greater? What was the greater? He said, I told them, wait for me at Jerusalem. And when the appointed time, as the Bible put it, when the appointed time have fully come, and the day of Pentecost happened, the Bible said that Jesus told them, go ye, therefore, into all the earth, teaching them, baptizing in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Go forth. Jesus was giving them the mandate. Go be greater. Go do more. Go obtain much. Because I had to stay here, watch this, to get you together. Here come, I'm going to reel you in with the greater. I had to stay here to get you together. So that when you get together, or as the Bible puts it, Jesus told Peter, but when you become converted, go strengthen your brother. I only came here to get you together so that you can become the greater. I want the greater, look at God, to be done by you, from me, through you, to be seen by you. See, that's the greater. God want to use the greater. God, see, we want the greater, but we don't want the works. He said, greater works than these. You can't get the greater if you take off the works. And unless you're doing the works, the greater can't meet you where you are. We're talking about God's greater. We're talking about God's greater. Now let's dig. Let's dig. Where you at? You in John, right? We in John 19? Ooh, y'all remember that? That's what we read, 19:11, right? Right. Because Jesus was telling Pilate that, because Pilate, your works can't be done except God give you or present me before you in order for your works to be done on me. So the greater sin is not you, but it is him who actions and works brought me to you. God is coming to make your works greater. You want the explosion? I'm trying to tell you where the explosion comes. I don't want you to be looking for the greater in the wrong place. I don't want you to be looking for the greater and God trying to bless something and you ignorant to the fact what he blessing and you don't think great is happening. He's coming. He's coming to make greater works. Follow me. We already in John, right? Let me see. Let's go to John 15 real quick before I go there. Before I go back to Matthew. I want to show you the greater. Jesus talking about. Because what we have to understand and come to the understanding is God is all about your works. Your works either allow God or prevent God. Okay, let me take the word works out because I offended some people. Your actions either allow God to bring greater or prevent God from allowing greater to come where you are. Works. Right there. You there? 15th chapter. Didn't I say 15? Right here in the 13th verse. Look at this. It's Jesus just, man. Look at this, Michael. Because I'm talking about works. I'm talking about works, and I'm talking about the greater. We always all excited Sunday. Woo, apostle. People falling out. People running around the church. Greater coming. But did you know he was coming to make your works greater? You see, watch this, Mike. Because if God make my hand greater, in other words, if God make what I'm doing or my actions greater, great will come from what I'm doing. If God just bless my works, if God just bless my works will bring greater to me by themselves because God done already ordained and blessed greater by blessing my works. Right there, look, what? Let Jesus prove it right here. We're in John, the 15th chapter. This is not my words. This is Jesus' words. The 13th verse, Jesus says this. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Now watch this. Now watch this. Watch this. What we talking about? Works. Greater works, right? Now Jesus said, greater love have no man than this, that a man will lay down his life for his friends. I said, wait a minute. So you telling me, as much as I love my children, as much as I love my wife, my mother, my siblings, my church, there's no love greater than this. Watch this. That a man lay down his life for his friend. For his friend. You see, because it's easy for me to lay my life down for my son. I'll lay my life down for my children in a second. For my wife, in a half of a second. For my church, it'll take a little while, but I'll lay it down. But he said, there's no greater love than a man lay down his life for his friend. I said, now what makes that great? My friend is just a friend. My friend don't really have no internal connectional ties with me because he's just a friend. Now, why would that make my love greater if I laid down my life for him? I had to ask God, what do you mean by that? He said, yeah, because see, for a friend requires individual sacrifice. Though it will cost sacrifice for me to lay my life down for my children or my wife, but there's a bond there. It makes my sacrifice a little easier. But my friend, see, a friend, let me tell you what a real friend is. A friend is somebody that you can disagree with. A friend is somebody that you can agree to disagree, and I'ma still feel the same way about you tomorrow because you my friend. Because you my friend. But to lay down what, this is what he means by life. To lay down what I hold dear. I'ma take the training wheels off. To lay down what I hold dear to me. What I feel is good to me. What I believe God gave me to cherish. To lay that down for somebody that I don't see eye to eye with sometimes, there ain't no greater love than that. I said, well, wait a minute now, God. Wait a minute, God. I said, well, God, I don't understand that. He said, son, I told you in the word. He said, if you love those that love you, what good have you done? In other words, if you only love people or places that you comfortable in loving, what good have you done? If you're not willing to be uncomfortable, I said, if you're not willing to be uncomfortable with somebody else, even though you don't agree with them, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to see it eye to eye every time with somebody, but you can be uncomfortable and allow yourself to even just be uncomfortable. Ain't no greater love, because that means you're willing to listen. You're willing to see another perspective, even though it's not your perspective. Are we in Black History Month? Today the first, right? Today is the day first. So we're in Black History Month. It starts today. Okay, happy Black History Month. All my brothers and sisters out there. Black, white, red, orange, whatever. Listen. The reason there are so many racial disparities in this country of ours is because one group will not allow themselves to be uncomfortable with another group, even though they don't have the same views, even though they don't see the same, even though they don't live the same, even though they're not raised the same, even though there's disparities in the social environment that they're in. But one group will not stand to just listen, even though we may not agree. Even though if we never see eye to eye. Love, true love, is laying down your life. Laying down your life. You know, when he talk about laying down your life, he don't mean kill yourself. He when he say laying down your life, he mean putting what you believe on the shelf for 1 second. Not to believe in what they saying, but just to be in the midst and to be able to be cordial with one another, whether you see eye to eye or not. The works, see the works, the works. Remember Jesus kept saying that. This is Black History Month, right? There were a couple of times in the Bible that Jesus was in awe, that he kept saying, these Sumerian people. He said, I ain't seen no great faith. I ain't seen no faith, not even in Jerusalem. He said, but yet, here it is, a Samaritan. So faith. He said, hey, didn't I heal 10 of y'all? I'm talking about to the lepers. The 10 lepers that he healed and told them, go show yourself to the priest. Remember the one that turned around? Jesus said, hey, one of 10 of y'all? He said, where's the other 9? And this one that done came back is a Samaritan. You remember Jesus was at that well, and that woman came and said, hey, give me something to drink. You know, wait a minute. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing to draw. I ain't got nothing to draw. And Jesus was trying to show her, Jesus was trying to get her to see how to change her works. I ain't got nothing to draw. Okay, you ain't got nothing to draw. Just go get your husband. Oh, man. I really don't have a husband. He said, yeah, you're right. And the other 8, 9 that you had, they wasn't your husband either. Your works speak for themselves. But Jesus did say this. He said, that woman was a Samaritan. And that woman went and told the whole town. Watch this. Remember, look, I'm getting you somewhere. Remember, Jesus said this. I'm trying to show you how the works can become greater. Remember, Jesus said, I must need go through Samaria. It's a must that I must perform works over here. I know I wasn't sent to them. I know I was not sent to be their preacher. I know they don't sing like we sing. I know they don't run and shout all over their church like we do. I know they don't fall out. People got to throw the sheets over them. I know they don't do that where they come from. But I must go through Samaria Because there are works that must be done. Watch this. Well, I can even go further. I'm trying to show you how Samaria was always in the reason why Jesus said greater works. Do you remember when Jesus was carrying the cross? And the Bible said that when Jesus couldn't carry it no more, he fell. And there was a man named Simon from Samaria that picked up the cross and carried the cross the rest of the way. There was a man named Simon from Samaria. Now, here we go. I'm trying to show you something. I'm taking you somewhere. Here we go. Jesus steady finding himself around Samaritans, people who the Jews hated, people who the Jews despised. Okay, let me get the Bible. Let me get the Bible. Here comes Pastor Jackson talking to crackheads, walking down the street with alcoholics, trying to talk to prostitutes, trying to talk to drug dealers, walking down the street with people that the church despised. But it's not about the relationship, rather more than it's about the works. You see, even though the Jews hated the Samaritans, Jesus knew that God had a plan, and in God's plan was a part for the Samaritan. In God's plan, God has a plan for that crackhead. God has a plan for that officer that killed somebody. God still has a redeeming plan for that prostitute. God has a plan for that alcoholic, for that drug dealer, for that user, because our works should become greater within us in order that God can bring the greater to us. But God only bringing you greater through your works. So don't think, I want you to think, and you get upset, I don't see no greater. I don't see nothing greater happening. Well, what are you doing? Are your works being done and seen by God? Or is God only seeing the works you shouldn't be doing? Come on, let me show you. Come on, let me. I know you're mad. I know you're mad at me. I know. Come on, I know you're mad. Let's go to John. I know you're mad at me. Let's go to 1 John. I know you're mad at me. But I want you to understand what's the greater coming for. The greater is coming to enhance your work. So this is what you need. See, let me tell you, this is what you need to, if you don't understand anything else right now, if you don't know anything else right now, this is the main objective you should be you should be doing, or should be happening in your life right now. Okay, God, I heard the apostle, heard the minister, heard that minister, heard the pastor, heard everybody that preach and teach. So God, okay, if you said that, if you're not doing anything, this is the one thing you should be doing. Lord, what works should I be working on? Lord, what works do you want to put in my hand greater? Where area in my work should I be working on greater? Because if God's bringing greater and he's bringing them through your works, you want to make sure you're working, don't you? Come on, y'all there? Come on, 1 John. I'm going to get out of here. 1 John. I want to show you, and I want to show you, listen, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why your works is so important to God. Because works, when we say works, we, I don't want you to think I'm talking about your job. That's not what I'm talking about. Work. When I'm talking about your works. When I talk about your works, I'm talking about the works, the abilities that God have given you, to work. That God has given you to work. The ability that God have ordained in your life for you to work. If you are an evangelist, God have ordained that in your life. If you are a deacon, God have ordained that in your life. You are a prophet or prophetess or a minister. You are a missionary. Whatever work God has given you, that's what I'm talking about. Whatever work God has given you. You might be a teacher. God has given you that work. What is your work? Maybe you're not a prophet, but God have given you the work to be an encourager. Some prophets will never encourage people like you got because God gave you a gift in that. Some preachers, maybe you're a comforter. Somebody who everybody just feels it's easy to talk to. That you see, we take light in our gifts. And the devil try to make you feel like your gifts aren't important. But God gave you that gift. And when God gives you a gift, there's a work that comes with that gift. And when you don't work that gift itself begins to die. It lays dormant and fall asleep. And then you walking around not yourself because what God put in you, you done let fall asleep. And now you not doing no works. You just living. Greater. Look, watch this. I'm gonna show you. Watch this. I'm gonna show you why. Can I show you why? Why the greater work is important to God? Did you go to 1 John? 1 John. Yeah. 1 John. That's right after Peter. Right after 2 Peter. 1 John. 1 John. Y'all there? The 4th chapter. That's right after 2 Peter. 1 John. Yeah, add John. That 4th chapter. You there? Watch this. Watch this 4th verse. Watch this. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Now, we've heard that all the time, haven't we? I mean, you say that when you're going through something. Greater is he that's within me than he that's in the world, right? Right? We don't hear that all the time. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. Now, here is the question to this scripture right here. Greater is he that's in me, right? Right? Greater is he that's in me. Where is he in you? As it said, greater is he that's in me, right? Than he that's in the world. Where is he that's in you? Where is he that's in you? And how do what's in you show itself? Great. Do it say that? Yeah, great. That's what it says. You want to say that, Mike? Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. You want to say that? You want to say that too? Okay. So you want to say that too? Okay, come on now. Let's go back. Yours did say that, right? Now let's go to John. Come on, I got to go. I have to go. Let's go to John. Let's go back to John, because I want. He said, "Greater is he that's in you," right? Than he that's in the world. Where is he? And how do he show himself? Where is he? How do he show himself? There can be no greater example of this than Jesus. Let's go to John. Let's see what Jesus say about it. I don't want you to believe me. You in John? That 5th chapter. Come on. Come on. You there? You there? You got it? Watch this. We're going to start right here at this 19th verse and we're going to the 20th. Follow me. Can you follow me? Then answered Jesus and said unto them, because, they mad at Jesus because Jesus had the audacity to make himself equal with God. Now, watch this. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do, for what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. Here we go, right here. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that he himself doeth. Here we go, right here. And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. And what is it that's inside of me that's greater than what's in the world? Right here. It's right there. Jesus just told you. The works. The works that the Father doeth. The works is what bring greater. Jesus said right here, he said, and greater works than these shall he do, that you may marvel, only because I'm willing to work what God has given me to allow greater to come from it. Jesus' whole ministry was comprised around works. I know you thought when you got saved that that was only to stop you from going to hell. But that's only a part of your salvation. The Bible said you were bought with a price. And that price comes with employment. There's works that must be done. There's works that has to be done. But the great thing about the works is the works give the best benefits you will ever get. Greater works. Watch this, Shauna. Greater works. Dr. Martin Luther King lived in Georgia, yet he marched in Chicago, yet he marched in Selma, yet he marched in Memphis, yet he spoke all over the world. Greater works. Marcus Garvey fought for his country, fought for his people, fought for his city, his nation. Greater works. Greater works than these shall you do. That, look. I know we hear that we're going to greater works than these shall we do because I'm going to my Father. That greater works than these. That isn't That's not a, I want to say, that's not a option he's giving you to think about. He's showing you what's required and mandated for you to be if you're going to be like him. Malcolm X. Greater. Muhammad Ali. I won't go to the war. Take my belt. In jail. I sit in jail. Innocent. But said before I go kill somebody that's not doing nothing to me and you killing me on my own street. Take it. Greater. Greater works. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. That's okay. I'll sit here. I'll sit right here and let my works speak for themselves. And I'll sit. Even though I'm sitting in jail, I'm standing for freedom. Even though I'm sitting in the cell, I'm standing up for justice. Greater works than these. Greater works. And we waiting for the greater. But we must know where the greater's coming from. You have to know. I don't want you to be looking in your bank account, waiting for the greater, and God going, I'm gonna come to your bank account. I'm gonna come to your bank account. I'm gonna come to your bank account after you teach this Sunday school class. I'm gonna come to your bank account, but I gotta come after the work I gave you to do. After I see you putting forth all your effort in the work I gave you, then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna bring greater. But my greater's coming through the work. I'm recalled the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They said, well, Dr. King, what if you were doing your own autobiography, what is it you would want people to know about you? He said, well, I don't want them to talk about how many degrees I have. That work wasn't important. I don't want them to talk about, I don't want them to talk about how many times I marched. I don't want them to talk about my PhDs. I don't want them to talk about how I was valedictorian in my school. He said, all I want them to say is I tried to do what God said do. I want them to remember I tried to love somebody when they didn't want to love me, the work. I tried to stand up for justice when justice kept closing the door in my face. I tried to stand up for liberty. I want them to remember the works. The greater, because the Bible said, heaven and earth shall pass away, but the word of God will never leave, ever. And you and I too shall pass, but our works do follow us. That's the only thing you taking away when you leave here. is your works. What works did you perform greater than others? We like to thank all those that tuned in here on Facebook, that's tuned in on social media. The greater, the greater, the greater. Get ready for the greater. Get ready for the greater. Just make sure that you remember your works. God bless you. We will see you here Sunday morning for 10:30 for Sunday school to 11:40 to 11:45. This is the first Sunday. This is also the first Sunday of our youth month here. This is our Black History Month. Please, 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 please come out and come be a part and watch our children and bring your children as well. So everyone could come be a part and allow the work of God to go forth. God bless you. Excuse me. Our color for this Sunday is purple and black for the children. For adults, either purple, black, or African attire. Whatever you have African attire, you have Wakanda wear, come on with it.